Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started with this episode.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this program. I'm so excited to be here to talk about something I'm so passionate about, leadership and young people. My name is Ambassador Dr. Regina Inem. I am an educational consultant. I am a humanitarian, lover of children, a mother, a grandmother, and also a child protection advocate. Been in the education space for about 25 years now. And because of my love of education and young people, I decided to go into the humanitarian space also to be able to impact on the youth and children. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for having me on board.
All right. Now, how did you get started? Let's begin from there, because I think that is the most important thing that people want to know. And because one day you decide to become a humanitarian, a worker in the area of education or in the educational sector, as it were. How did it start with you?
Okay. As I said earlier, I've been in the educational space for about 25 years, and I've worked with teachers, I've worked with youth all my life. Now, how did I get into the humanitarian space? It started out after seeing teachers not being able to deliver, especially teachers in the public school. So what I now did was to go to public schools around Nigeria and begin training them on how to be able to deliver quality education. I was worried about the kind of youth we're having produced, the kind of graduates we're having produced in our society, graduates that couldn't create anything, graduates that came out to flood the unemployment market and increase the unemployment space and crime rise and all that. So that's why I decided to go into that humanitarian space. One, to be able to equip teachers to train the students, to give them the right educational training in terms of the curriculum delivery and morals. Also to help these young people, bring them into my foundation, groom them, equip them with life skills, soft skills that they can be able to lead effectively in times like this, and also be able to stand tall, in the present situation, in the present times that we're in also.
All right. Now, because we are talking of educational situation and we're looking at Nigeria to be specific, would you be kind enough to give us a kind of a background of how the Nigerian educational system actually appeared? So what is the situation of the Nigerian educational system? Because this is something that is very huge and very sensitive in the Nigerian society, as it were. Okay, so give us a kind of a background of the Nigerian educational system, because now you are in Abuja, of course. So with me, you definitely do understand what we are talking about. Please go ahead.
Okay, the Nigerian educational system, I would say we have a major issue. The major issue is with the curriculum and the curriculum delivery. Our curriculum empowers the child to read and write and not think. Unlike the British curriculum that creates creativity in the child, critical thinking skills, decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, our own curriculum delivery and curriculum itself, there's gaps. I know lately the government have been trying to modify the curriculum to be able to cover the space. However, the delivery of this curriculum is still a major challenge because the teachers are not being trained. There is a great divide between the private education and the public school education. In the private school, they go the extra mile. They actually blended their curriculum, having the Nigerian British for most schools, though we still have some schools that have the American incorporated and have some bringing all the Malaysian, Montessori, and all that. However, it is important as a country we define what we want. I always look at Singapore as my model. Singapore was a third world country like Nigeria until they had a leader that came and looked at the curriculum and modified it to fit their situation. So I would say that our policymakers should be more deliberate. They should sit down, develop our curriculum to be able to capture the four critical skills of collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity skills. And they should ensure that their teachers, our teachers, are equipped to deliver this curriculum. If we can do this, a lot will change in the country. If we can do this, the high level of unemployment that we have would not be the case. If we can do this, our economy will become great. At least there is an example to follow, Singapore. And if you look at all the developed countries that have booming economies, go and check. Their educational system is very robust. Is it Canada? Is it Sweden? Their educational system is robust. So I think for us to get it right in Nigeria, for us to leave the situation that we are in now, we have to address education as a matter of urgency. And we have to train teachers. We now go to even the teacher training in Nigeria, the faculties of education. What kind of teachers are we grooming there? We see that even the faculty of education, the kind of training given to would-be teachers is archaic, very archaic. I have 3 masters. One of my masters is in educational psychology. One of my masters is in England and 2 in Nigeria. And the one I had for, in our faculty of education, I cried when while I was there. I said, no, what kind of educators are these people bringing out? They bring out educators that cannot deliver the curriculum. They use obsolete teaching methodologies, and definitely you cannot give what you don't have. So I would say there should be a general overhauling of our faculty of education. There should be a general overhauling of our teachers, teacher training colleges, so that these teachers will be able to deliver. They should be brought to this century. As far as I know, they are still in 1820. They are not even yet in the 19th century, So it's a major problem. So I will say the divide is so great. The private sector education, they are doing fine, but the public, they're still far behind. And the majority of the teachers are in the public sector. The majority of the children are in the public sector. And this tells you the future Nigeria that we'll still be in the present situation they were in, even worse than, because technology has taken over everywhere. Education has moved from what it used to be. So we are still backwards. And if we are not ready to fix that, I fear that we might not be able to make it or move forward.
Thank you very much for that, Regina. You see, the point that you are bringing is really very important. It's a sensitive one in that, and we're looking at now the future leader and the kind of the grooming that we are preparing. Because if we do not tackle the problem now, I mean, in the future we're still going to have the same problem. We're still going to have like a dog that is just turning around its own tail, So which means that this is the time to really look at the issue. Because the issue that we are looking at just now, which is that to do with education, because you are trying to give even a pass mark to the private sector in the education, which means that those who are investing in their own education, the private schools, they know what to do. But the government school, those who are supposed to give education to the people, they are not doing what they are supposed to do. And if we extend this argument to other areas, like even in the medical sector, is exactly what is also happening. Which means that we are sort of lost interest in our collective things. So that a doctor, a medical doctor who is working in the government sector, if he have a way, he can take the resources and go to set up his own, do a better one, and then leave the public to suffer. The same thing is happening in the educational sector. It's more dangerous because we are almost ruining the future generation. So the question I want to ask you, because you've been working there for more than 25 years, more than 20 years, if I'm not wrong, is, has it always been like this? Or is it something that changed along the way?
Okay, I would say that our curriculum has not changed. It has always been like this. However, when we were in school, the government was able to pay more attention to teachers. They were able to provide resources for school. Like I am a product of the public school. I'm a product of a public school. I did not go to private school while I was growing up. And I went to what we call the Jack on Day school. And I remember vividly that our teachers were being supervised effectively. Our principal was on top of our game. Then the government was giving us books for free, math sets, everything that we needed in the classroom, textbooks for free. And education was taken seriously. Even the classrooms were very beautiful. But today, what we have in the public sector is that even the learning environment is a far cry from what it used to be. You go to public schools, you see that even there are no desks for the children, no resources. The children, yes, they say it's free education, but these parents are being charged one thing or the other, which you don't even deliver. You now come about teaching resources. In my bid to help, I have moved around a lot of public schools myself. Even the resources for the teachers to use in the classroom is not available. Even the toilet for the children to even visit during school times is an eyesore. Some of the buildings, the roof are gone. So even we all know that if a child wants to learn, the learning environment is also very important. So in what we have now is a far cry from what we used to have. The teachers are no longer dedicated because the salaries are very poor. So you now have teachers that comes to sell egusi and peel egusi and sell, or sell jewelry during school time. So they don't even have the time to deliver the curriculum. They come to school when they like. So you see that there's a serious issue. Then you now have some states that say, okay, we want to now monitor the teachers. Even the government inspectors that goes to inspect the teachers, the principals in different schools, when they get there, they don't even do the right thing. Once the school is able to settle them, they take right and go back to their and give a good report to the governor. So the whole system is in a total decay. It's a total decay, but no one will really want to talk about those things. So I will say, as I've said earlier, the situation is bad, but it could be better. And it takes willpower. It takes dedication. It takes deliberate steps to want to help this country move forward.
All right. Now you said in the beginning you said something making reference to US to Canada, that any country that want to advance need to take care of education, need to take care of this educational situation, no? The curriculum and what is offered to the children, which is true because the investment need to be made at that level. But in Nigeria or in most part of Africa, we don't pay attention to this situation. We leave the children to, I don't want to say we need them to decay, but we don't take care of them. And we expect them to take care of us at the end of the day. Because I'm not looking at the individual family now, I'm looking at the institution, I'm looking at the state. Now, there is one thing that I've discovered here, living in Italy, for example, no? In that when you are growing up as a child, you come to understand the idea of the state giving you something, of the system giving you something, that maybe your parents are not worthy enough. They give you a kind of a way to be able to survive in the system. You go to school, they feed you in the school. They give you food. You are not able to buy books. They are able to, they give you, I'm basically talking of the idea and the ideology, that you understand that you can be given But in Nigeria, for example, if your parents don't have to give you, the state don't have something to give you. They don't give you anything. Like maybe, for example, you were saying when you were growing up, you were giving mathematical set, for example. I heard of those things, no? Because if you are giving, it entered into your idea that you too can give. But if we don't give, if, for example, there is no bus system, where maybe, for example, I want to go to school, I can take this bus. I don't have money, but I can still take this bus to go to school. I don't need to trek for kilometers. If we don't sow this idea into the minds of the people, how do we expect them as the leader of tomorrow? So when do we even expect them to get the idea to give to the society? So I'm seeing that we are lacking in this very area because we need to plant, because the education is also a way of planting something, of planting idea into the mind of the young people, so that by the time they grow up, this idea will grow with them, then they can use it to build the society. So from your understanding as an educational expert, how are we supposed to plant the idea we want to reap tomorrow into the mind of the children today?
The best way to do is, first of all, teaching the children leadership. Teaching the children leadership with a heart to serve, not just leadership, with a heart to serve. And a lot of private schools are already doing this. For example, the private school I run, we are teaching the children leadership, and we asked them, okay, how can you impact the community? And they came up with a project to empower 25 vulnerable women within the community on soap making skills and food, baking of making akara and some snacks. And the children fundraised themselves. The women were here last week, and on the 17th, the children are going to, actually empower these women themselves. What are we trying to do? We are creating leaders with a heart to serve. So I would say every school can actually teach their children how to give by creating programs that allows this. Creating leadership programs. I know that we have a lot of leadership programs in a lot of schools. Community service should be injected in all school programs, because when the children start doing community service, they will know that we have people. They should be able to help people. They'll be taught empathy. The problem we have in Nigeria today are leaders without the heart to serve, without a heart for the poor, without the heart for the people. So if we can, create a new generation of youth that have leadership skills with the heart to serve and not themselves. They think of others and not themselves. And as I've said earlier, the best way to do this is to first of all put this in the school programs. Like all schools that I've worked in, we've ensured that we put that in the school plan. So the children, they sit with the local community leaders and look at the problem of that community and try to fix it together with the leaders. So I will encourage us all to do this. As I said earlier, I went to a public school and they gave me so much. And by the time I entered university, I was even better than a lot of children, a lot of undergraduates that came from the private sector, because the government of the day then, they were very serious. So I will also say that also gave me a leverage to want to give, because my school taught me that, the public school I went to taught me giving. And today I am happy to be a giver. And many of my set, we are all older now. Many of us are over 50 and under 50. In their own space, they are also giving because of the kind of education we are giving. So I will encourage children should be taught not only to receive, but to give back. Children should be taught when they see someone in need, they can, find out the issue as a body, as a school community and try to help. One of the schools I was in that I headed in the southwest in Nigeria there, Osun State, they brought in a community, in short, it is a yearly plan for all year levels. The year 7, they go to the community schools during Easter break, and they teach the children in those community schools. The year 10 are told to sit with the community leaders, find out the problems and solve it. But 2 years ago, they discovered that water was a problem in that community. And these children fundraised and set up 5 boreholes in that community. Today, the community, they have water, organized, donated by children. Tell me those kind of children, by the time they grow older, they're already used to giving. Giving is part of their life. They'll be able to give to their community and look forward to giving to their community always. So let us have this incorporated in our educational system, in our schools. Children having the heart to serve, and not just children, the Nigerian society, the Nigerian people should have that community service at the back of their minds. We have a lot of organizations, very few have CSR, genuine CSR that they do out there. So the government, the organizations should be able to help local communities that they are situated in. The people, every one of us should rise up, and I don't believe in complaining. Yes, the educational system seems falling. I decided to do something about it, and that's why I founded my NGO. Not all of us might have a proper NGO structure, but all of us as Nigerians can wake up and say, how can I help? The government truly can't do everything. That is the honest truth. They can't do everything. Every one of us should have the hearts to give back to the community. Let's start from our different communities. Get our youth in our communities involved in giving and not waiting for government to come and give them something. The era of waiting, let's collect should end. What can we give? If everyone can come up with an idea, let's give this, let's give that, I can assure you Nigeria will be a better place. Even our youth will not be unemployed. I tell people the easiest way to have jobs, the easiest way to make impact, the easiest way to make it to be successful is to give. Is to give. Volunteer to, in your community. Volunteer to help people, to help the situation in that community. We're talking about education today. Groups can come together and say, okay, what is the problem? Let us solve it. So I think as a country, a state, a community, every one of us should imbibe the act of giving back to our communities.
As we were responding, I was thinking something, in that I don't know if the idea that we continuously complain have to do with the also the type of education that we are giving, in that the let me make the example like this. If Nigeria was in a war, maybe this war is going to last for like 30 years or 20 years or 50 years or 10 years even, Nigerian government is still going to give education to the people. In an ideal situation, that education is going to be filtered by the circumstances of the time, which in this case might be the war. The type of education is going to be about how to train people on how to fight, no? It's going to be a lot of military strategy is going to be inculcated into the educational system. That is, if the person who is running the society knows what he's doing. By that, I'm saying that education is not something that is just given like that. It is given for a purpose, for a reason, for an objective. Now, it is possible that because we don't have a functioning system, that even the educational system also is not functioning. Because if it were functioning, the people that are running the society should see they should see 20, 50 years from now what is going to happen. Based on what they have saw They are going to configure the head of the people through the educational system. Now, you see, just before now, no, we were having a good educational system. That is true. It wasn't based on this grammar school thing. It was based on hard work. Because we are coming from a society that uses hand to work. So if we want to develop education, the educational curriculum or whatever we want to call it, it should be based on the solution. It should be a kind of education that is based on solution strategy. Like, if at the end of this educational system, these people, what are they going to become? Because right now, as it is in Nigeria, you finish school, people complain, I don't have work. The question is that when you were enrolled into this program, what was the objective of it? Now, this is my thinking. Maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me on it. I believe that the post-African independent state would pretend that we're independent. We're not really independent. Is that we are educated to serve other people other than ourselves. And for this reason, it doesn't matter whether it is millions of people who are jobless in Africa. We educate them so that they can go out to the West to serve. They are not educated to solve the problem for the African people. And the African leaders are fully aware of this. So in this case, our educational system is not serving us. Let's pretend that I'm right. What can be the solution? How can we create educational curriculum to serve us so that the people, our graduates, when they finish school, they don't need to look elsewhere. They need to look inward. Like, how can we tap into our resources, the forest, the water, the wind, the air, everything? Because that is how people actually do it in any other part of the world. How can we build educational system that can serve the local people?
Okay, thank you so much. Now, this is achievable. As I said earlier, it is the willpower of the government to sit down to develop a curriculum to be able to solve our problems. As I tell you, as I speak, our curriculum enables us only to read and write and not to think. And if you cannot think, you cannot solve problems. If you cannot think, you cannot make decisions. So I think solving that is key. And two, planning is a major issue because the kind of education we have does not even equip us to plan. So you see that even from the government level to the local level to the homes, people don't plan. In developed world, they have 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 30-year plans, and they follow through. So it starts again from the leadership of the country. If we, as a leader, as a country, we should have, what is the plan for Nigeria? What is the plan for the educational sector? What is the plan for the medical sector? We should be very strategic and purposive in whatever we do, but that is not what we have because the kind of leaders that we have, we're not even trained, they're not equipped. We're not equipped to do this. However, we can change the narrative. First of all, we make a curriculum to be able to equip our learners to be problem solvers, to be very good decision makers, and to be critical thinkers. Starting point, which I've mentioned earlier. Two, we need to educate everybody in Nigeria, not just even the children, every sector. Okay, the parents, for example, now. There is so much of corruption in the educational system because of parents. Imagine a child is groomed to write entrance exam, and the parents, they go to the entrance exam venue with the children and are ready to cheat for the children to be in top schools. What are you teaching that child as a parent? You now get into secondary school. The parents, they pay for special centers so that these children can go and all have A1s they can't defend. What kind of educational system are you breeding? What kind of youth do you intend to breed? They're not getting to the universities. These same parents give the children money to bribe lecturers. They come out with first class. First class they cannot defend. What kind of youth have you produced? So definitely you have youth that will come out and can't deliver. We brought up the 633 form of education. It was a fantastic model where in JS3, children that are not very strong in academics can learn vocational skills. We all killed that system because not everyone is wired for the book thing. Some children are good in sports, some are good with their hands. But parents said, oh, how can my child go to vocational school? And they killed that system. So the parents need to be educated. The youth, their minds need to be reprogrammed. The youth that we have today believe in quick money, quick everything. Because the parents have allowed them to think quick. The educational system has allowed them to think quick. And they are not ready to work hard. Now, hard work is now, can I say, hard work is a thing of the past. When I was in school, I worked hard. In short, my father ensured that I read. And the grades I had were the grades I actually had. I read. Today, how many are ready to sit down to read? You go to jam centers, the parents are the one paying money for them to buy for the jam questions and the answers. Who does that and want the country to move? So there's so much of decay everywhere, so much of decay. And if we don't address this, from the parents, from the government, from all space, this will not work. So I would say the problem, the educational challenge we have in Nigeria, every one of us must be ready to solve it. It is beyond the government. The parents should be ready. The schools should be ready. Every sector should be ready. The thinking of our mind, we should begin to re-educate ourselves, re-educate our thinking. So the curriculum, true, yes, we have to work on that. Again, morals must come into play. We must have integrity. We must be ready to work hard. We must learn patience. We must teach the children patience. If we don't do this, as a country, we might not move forward. We might not move far. Children should be allowed to be themselves. Those that can't go to normal grammar school, they go colleges and be who they want to be. So far, they have the basic education. They should go to technical colleges and let their ability that God has given them, be released and be functional. So I still insist, we can have this if we have the willpower. We can make this happen if we have the willpower. We don't have to bring out graduates that can't think. Anyone that can't think can produce. And we don't have to bring people that are not proud of themselves. Everybody likes UK, ready-made thing, UK, Canada. If these people did not take time to build their curriculum, train their teachers, go to Canada. The teachers are very equipped. In short, people want to be teacher. In Nigeria, how many wants to be teacher? In short, the teaching profession are for those that did not have their first choice. And they just, many of them are accidental teachers. So they're not even passionate. Imagine you're doing something you're not passionate about. You just want to collect the money. I don't want headache. And this child is not learning. I beg, let them pay my salary and let me go. The passion is not there. The people even in the educational world in Nigeria are not even passionate because about 70% are accidental teachers. They never wanted to be teachers. Then the faculty of education, you can imagine, takes only the remnants. Their cutoff point is the lowest. You now have law, 300 and something. If you want to read engineering, you must have 300 and something. If you want to become a teacher, you must have 150. How? They take the remnants. So how do you think that the sector will work? So it is a whole network and complex issue, and we really need to, be intentional in solving these issues.
Thank you very much for that. It's really an important issue. The one that we're looking into just now is really, really an important issue. It's really an important issue. I must stress that again, because it is fundamental. It is really, really fundamental in the issue that is affecting us as Africa, as Nigeria, to be specific in this case. And because when our educational system was derailed, it began by thinking that because you can speak a lot of grammar, then you are a better educated person, you know? So that if you went to a polytechnic, where you were sort of inclined to use more of your brain, your thinking, and your hands as well, you were at a point you were regarded as equal because, of course, you could produce what you went there for, no? But at a point, it was started to shift well because you went to university, therefore the grammar school, you are more qualified compared to another person. It is not even true because now a lot of people are even frustrated, no? Because you are not really living the life you are supposed to live. Life is supposed to be find something that you love. So
Exactly.
the system should have been designed so that every person should find a place in it. So I really thank you so much for the line that you are dragging here. It is very, very important. But now my curiosity is, are Nigerians even complaining? Because until we are dissatisfied with the system, it will never change.
That's true. Um, the parents are complaining because they have their children at home, spend so much sending them to school, and they're back home doing nothing, waiting for white collar jobs. So they are complaining. What kind of education has their children been given while they are home? The graduates are also complaining that there are no jobs. The organization, those employing, are also complaining that graduates are not, they cannot even write a sentence, that the graduates that we have are poor quality grades. So everyone is complaining, from the organization that is employing, to the parents, to even the youth that are at home, they're all complaining. But I don't know if the government is complaining because I'm not in government.
You see, why this one is really very important. Why I'm asking the question is that, you see, because from this point forward, we'll begin to look at some of the solutions, or even though we have touched some of them before. Because you see, before I was making reference to a situation in Italy. I'm not trying to say that Italian system is the best in the world, no? But at least it's working for them, no? If our own were at least working up to this point, we will not be complaining that much. In that, when we sow the idea in the mind of the children, then it will replicate itself in the future. For example, look at our tourism sector. If throughout the period that the children go to school, they have never been taught about their history, not just literally some far away data in there, really taking them to the source of the history, reading the books, going to the tourist center. If you don't do this, the children don't even know that they have a history to start with. And when they grow up, they will go to read about this history from the United States, from books that are written by professors in US or UK. But they live in the source of the history. I didn't remember throughout the time that I spent in my secondary school and the primary school in Nigeria, going to an excursion to a historic place, even in my town in Uromi. But in my town in Uromi, there are some historic places. It never occurred to the person who manages education that I needed to know. There is a place, there is a book I was writing. I don't yet finish it, but I will finish it soon. It has to do with the Benin mode. Now, I am coming from Edo State. I was supposed to know that one because I went to school in Edo State, but I never knew that. I first heard of the Benin mode here in Italy because I was trying to research on myself, trying to research about African story. So if I didn't know that during my school days, how am I supposed to know that that is part of my history? And the Benin mode is one of the it's one of the wonders of the world. How come they didn't teach me that? And if they teach me that, If they teach children that, children could one day even become business people running. We could do a lot of things if we open information that are available to the people. But if we have dead education, decay education, when we don't care about the future of these children, then we just feed them with stupid things and they don't know anything about their history. So the question again I'm trying to get at here now is that we guarantee a kind of equal education for all? Because now we have educational system for private people. If you are rich, you can access that for the rich people. But if you are poor, nobody cares about you. So the question I'm asking is that because you have NGO, you are an advocate for equal education. How can we guarantee education for all Nigerians? Because all Nigerians matters. All the children in Nigeria matter, not only for the rich people. How can we guarantee that?
Okay, thank you so much for this. I will start with the history. You are aware that we, at the time, we removed history from our curriculum. The thing is that I still say education is not about the four walls of the school, learning math, English, and science. Education of the mind is quite important. As Nigerians, as Africans, we have this mentality that whatever comes from the outside world, from the developed country, from the Western world is key. And we are everything we want to associate, oh, Yankee and all that. So it's a mentality that we need to kill. And it sounds nicer to say, oh, I want to know the history of the Buckingham Palace. I wanting to know the history of the Badagry Slave Center. So I think it's something that we need to re-educate our mind, being proud of our heritage, being proud of who we are, being proud of Nigeria is a thing that we all need to work around, is a thing that we all need to embrace. Now, talking about education for all, can there be education for all in Nigeria? It is achievable if there's the willpower. And this can only be effected by the government. Free education for all, from primary to secondary, should be a basic thing in our society. In any country or any economy that wants to grow, as I've said earlier, they had free education for everyone till the end of secondary level. Basic education is key. But if the government are not sincerely giving free education in the public school so that every Nigerian can attend, I don't know how we'll be able to achieve this. The private sector, they are putting so much, so it's not going to be free. You have to pay for their teachers, you have to pay for the facility, you have to pay for the quality, so they can't make it free. When I come to how have I been able to ensure free education for all? My foundation, we work with children, we work with the youth. And what we decided to do is, first of all, who are the ones that provide this education in schools? They are teachers. So what we do is that we identify schools that can't really train teachers, low government schools and private schools that are low income, and we train their teachers for free. Then we now identify orphanages that have schools. Recently, last year, we visited the Arrow of God orphanage in Aja, Lagos, and it was during the lockdown we went there, just to share some food items with them during the lockdown, and we discovered that they had a school, a nursery and primary school. So we went back there to train their teachers on how to use Zoom and the use of technology to deliver teaching and learning in the classroom. Now we got there, they took us to the school, but we discovered that the school did not even have interactive whiteboard, no projector, and the ICT lab was gone, no functional computer. I started asking them, how do you teach computer to, this age of technology? You don't teach computer science to the children, you teach computer science only with books. This is computer, you just show them in the book. They cannot identify computer real life, they cannot really touch the computer and do basic things. I told them no, that we have to see what we can do, because we believe so much in quality education, education for all, especially embracing education, education that has to do with IT, because the present world that we are in is about technology. education have gone digital. Education have moved into technology, into the technology space. And I tell you, in few years to come, we will not even have the four walls of the school. The school will be online. So we decided to take that project and look for sponsors, and we were able to get HP Foundation to sponsor us. HP Foundation came, they were able to refurbish the library, refurbish the computer room, and also donated computers and one laptop for the head teacher so as to be able to deliver quality education. Quality education is very key to me and to the foundation. And we cannot be able to cover everywhere in Nigeria. And this is where every one of us come to play. Everyone, it is the corporate effort of everyone to ensure quality education in Nigeria. We cannot say we want to continually wait for the government. Yes, we cannot always wait for the government, but I can tell you we can do something in our own space. So for us at Regamus Foundation, what we've done is to identify those areas that really need help, and we are giving help to those areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now let's look at another area that is very important for our society, which is the issue of women empowerment. I see that you're also very key in those areas. Now, tell me, how can education help the women to level up? Because we understand that is a kind of deficit that we also have in Nigeria, also in other parts of Africa. I'm asking the question because it is very important. It is absolutely very important because women have always played a pivotal role in our society. If they have the chance to be able to live to be able to level up, it's not only for them as women, but also for the entire society. So the question is, how can education help women to level up or empower women as well?
Okay. We all know that if you empower a woman, you empower a community and you empower a nation. So what we've been able to do is that we advocate for every girl child to be educated. We know that we have some cultural barriers in some areas where the girl child is not regarded as one that should go to school, but the male child should go to school because the belief that the place of a woman ends in the kitchen. So they don't really want to train the girl child. So that's where advocacy comes in. So we advocate for education of every girl child, equal education for every child, whether you are a male or female. So we do that. Then we go further to empowering these women, not only in the four walls of the school, but also to empower them to have money to be able to train their daughters in schools. Because if a woman is empowered, a woman have a source of income, the family enjoys. The women are more prone to using all their resources to building their homes. And this will also ensure that even every child that they have goes to school, whether they are male or female. So we are so passionate about empowering women and giving them a source of livelihood, because we know that in doing this, one, it will help the woman not to be, it will kind of bring down the cases of domestic violence. We have discovered that the issues of the domestic violence most times comes when a woman does not have a source of income. They are totally reliant on the man. The man now sees the woman as a punching bag and all that. So empowering women to be able to care for themselves and care for their children is key to us. And this we do by organizing vocational skills. So we've been able to train women on the making of soap, liquid soap, and moisturizing soap. And in July, we are also going to physically train more women. We're looking at training 300 women in the south part of Nigeria. And yes, getting resources to do this could be a bit challenging. And that's where we call for collaboration, to bodies that will be ready to partner with us to ensuring that more women are being empowered, more women are given sources of livelihood so that their children will be able to have quality education. So when you empower women, be assured of quality education. Yes, we're saying that children should go to school. When women have money, I tell you, they'll send their children to good private schools, and will cut down on the gaps that we have in quality education for all in Nigeria.
And in terms of the children in general, of course, we are looking at the future generation and therefore looking at the future leaders. It has been reiterated a number of times during this podcast. If you want a better future, if you want a better country, we better invest in the children, because these children are going to be the future. They can build Nigeria or they can equally destroy Nigeria. The choice is ours. So the kind of education we give them depends on the outcome that is going to come. It's not going to be any miracle. If we want a better Nigeria, we better build it now by investing in them. If we want, okay, now let me expatiate on this a little bit so that it can be clear now. That it might appear to somebody, those maybe that are coming from a privileged few, who think that, okay, well, we are rich, we can send our children to the best university, we can send our children to become the best in the country, they will become the best, they will be the only one that are going to reap the reward of this great country. But it is not true, it's a lie. Because what is going to happen is that if you allow the children of the poor to become wayward, to become criminal, those criminals are going to kill your children who are going to become privileged. Because they are going to live in the same society. This Nigeria belongs both to you, the privileged, and to those wayward who actually you are allowed to become wayward. So the thing at the end of the day is that if you want a better Nigeria, you must give opportunity to all Nigerian children to become good Nigeria, good ambassador. But if you don't, you are sowing a seed that is good, that everybody is going to reap. Not only for the wayward children, but even for the privileged few. For example, look at the roads in Nigeria. The roads in Nigeria are so poor, are so bad, that if you buy a very fine car, the road doesn't ask you whether you are rich or poor. In a couple of few months, the car is destroyed. Now, this is not because you are not undoing the wayward people. You are undoing it for yourself too. So which means that if you are a politician, if you are the person who is supposed to build good road for the country, and you refuse to do it, you are going to suffer the consequences anyway, just like the poor person is going to suffer it. So if you have a minimum of reasoning in you, you should know that if you don't do it, you are undoing yourself too. So the question actually now is, if we are thinking of the future and looking at the children as the future leader, what role does the kind of education we give them today plays in it?
Okay. As you rightly said, education is key. Education for every Nigerian child is not only key, but it is very, very important and essential. If we don't train the children, if we don't train the youth, if we don't give them quality education, what will happen is that those children that we refuse to train, we refuse to send to school, will become the agberos. Already we have them. We have them. They become the agberos, they become the kidnappers, they become the bandits, they become the criminals out there. And you can't really blame them. I've had occasion to one-on-one meet with some of these agberos. Many of them are kind-hearted, I tell you the truth. But the problem is that they find themselves in a situation which they are so helpless to tackle. Imagine a child being given back to under the bridge, no father, the mother does not have the economic power to train. Definitely will steal. It starts from stealing. Then from petty stealing to carrying weapons. And from there, they progress. They now go into small, before you know it, they're now hardened criminals. The first day I had an encounter with this Agbero, I went back home and nearly cried. So kind-hearted, went out of his way to help me. So the thing is that many of those people that refuse to train will go out there and become a nuisance. There's a story that happened, I think this year or late last year, of a Nigerian businessman based abroad came into Nigeria. On his way to the airport, armed robbers attacked him and killed him. He was abroad for more than 30 years. He came home to visit. So I will tell even Nigerians in diaspora, yes, you think you've left Nigeria. You think things are going well for you out there. But remember back home, there is no place like home. One day you want to come and visit for 1 hour. That 1 hour you come to visit, do you know what might happen? So I would say, the money you have, send it back home to your communities. Send children to school. Make it a point of duty to empower children in your local community. It is important. Give scholarships to those children. Because I tell you, those children in those communities, those children we all fail to train, are the ones that will trouble Nigerians. Already things are bad. In Lagos, I live in the Lekki Axis. In the evening, you can drive. You see young boys between the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, coming out with knives in the road, car by car. Once there's this red light, the traffic light turns red, they come to attack. Why? Because many of them don't have education. That is what they know how to do. That is the best they've been offered by the society. Many of them don't even know their fathers. Your mothers don't have a source of income. Their mothers are even with another man and they don't even have time for the child. So already we are getting to that stage. We are getting there gradually. They are attacking people now. They are not even waiting for the social, even the middle class are being attacked. So I tell you, we are sitting on a time bomb. This is the time more than ever before that we begin to take the education of our youth, of our children seriously. Because in few years to come, not too long, if we don't do anything, because it's already happening. I tell you, live things I have already seen. They will begin to rob house to house. In areas in Ikorodu, they used to give them notice, we are coming. And they don't hide. And they are youth, jobless youth in the area. They go house to house and they rob and they give notice that they are coming. If that they had the basic education, do you think they will do that? So some of these people are actually helpless. Free education for all is key. And every one of us, whether you are Nigerian in diaspora, you are Nigerian here, it is a time we all rise up to ensure that every Nigerian child have basic education. For the youth, yes, get them out of the street. Give them vocational skills. It's still education. Education must not be science, physics, chemistry in a confined school. Give them skills, entrepreneurship skills, vocational skills. Mentor them so that the skills don't go down the drain. Mentor them. 6 months, 1 year, and watch them grow. And tell them that, yes, you have helped them. They should now give back. So you train them with the mind that they have to give back and replicate what you've done for them. If every one of us does that, we tell them replicate. Before long, Nigeria will be a better place. Everyone will be educated with skills, with paper qualification, and all the need to survive. Everyone will have that. Thank you.
That is powerful. Everyone can have that. It is within our possibility, really. You see, it is scary, no? It is scary to use the right word for it. If you look at the Nigeria in the real pure sense of it, no? In that we pretend that we can live inside our tinted glasses because we have still the money that was supposed to be used for the people, no? And we're going to go there today because it's not necessary. But the point is that the reward is going to be enough for everybody. Like you already pointed out, we are seeing it, no? Now, when we elect people into the position of authority, because that is where we are going, that is where the argument really is hanging on, because we're talking about leadership. We are not telling the politician to spend his money to take care of the people. We are simply telling him or her to do your job, the job that you were invited to do. the job that you were elected to do, to cater for the people. Because the people you refuse to cater for today, they are going to kill you tomorrow. If you refuse,
Yes.
they are going to kill you tomorrow. So do your job. If it is not your job, leave there, because you are bringing cost upon yourself. If you eat the blood money, if we say we don't have light, we need people that can fix the light. That is the job of the government. Fix the problem of the people. Don't create problem for them. That is what we are talking about. You are elected into the office to bring about good education for the people. Don't spend the money to start doing rubbish. Do the job. That is what we are supposed to do. Do the job. Do the job for the people. All right. Now, I really want to thank you so much, Regina. You see, at this point, we usually give the space of time to our guests to advertise themselves, kind of a self-promotion. Then, of course, I will ask you a few questions to end the podcast. Now, what do you have to offer in terms of, I don't know, are you selling something? Do you want people to reach you in some way or the other? How can people reach you? So spend these few 3-4 seconds to say something about yourself. Connect with the audience. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much for the opportunity. As I said earlier, I'm Ambassador to Regina Inem. I'm the Executive Director for Regamos Consulting. Regamos Consulting is an educational educational consulting firm. And what we do there is we train teachers. We also work with government and organization to establish schools and also do school improvement programs. We also recruit for schools in Poland. We recruit for schools in Russia and Ghana. So if you have a university, we also do school placement. And my other company is Regamos Farms and Agro-allied Services. What we do there is the export of agro products. So we export shea butter, we export dried cashew nuts, we export ginger, both the dry splits, ginger and the fresh one. So for your agro products, contact us. And the last one is a CSR. We've talked so much about helping the community. I will believe that we must give back, and that's where Regamos Foundation comes to be. Regamos Foundation is passionate about transforming the lives of women, especially widows, transforming the lives of abused girls, transforming the lives of youth and orphans. So we work with other organizations to ensuring this, and for more than a year now, we've been doing tremendously well. How can you reach us? We have our social media platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and you can reach Regamos Consulting on all our platforms, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter. Regamos Farms, also on Facebook and on LinkedIn. Then Regamos Foundation, you can also meet us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and also on Instagram. And personally, you can reach me on my Facebook handbook. My Facebook name is Regina Inem. So I'm the only Regina Inem in the world. So you can like my page. You can also contact me to be my friend. I'm also on LinkedIn as Ambassador Regina Inem. So you can also meet me. I am an ambassador of the International Summit of Leaders, and my work in education and in the humanitarian space has been rewarded with about 18 awards. The award for me is nothing, but I really appreciate the fact that our work is being noticed. Foundation, I speak to you all. You can collaborate with us. The work is enormous. The resources is slim. So you can collaborate with us. You can partner with us to transform the lives of women, to transform the lives of youth. We've talked about education now. We're doing a lot for youth, empowering them. You can partner with us to do this. We're looking at empowering 300 women in the South. You could also, collaborate with us. And I tell people that want to partner with us, you need not even give us the money. Your services, please bring it and help those people. Nigeria, we need a lot of these people, they need your help. They need your help. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Regina. You are doing a fantastic job. In fact, before we started the podcast, I already told you that your curriculum is so rich and powerful. I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you too. Thank you so much.
All right. Now, imagine that you have a magic power to transform education in Nigeria. What would be your three first things to do?
One, I would change the curriculum to meet our needs because the ones we have now does not meet our needs. Two, I will equip all the stakeholders that will deliver the curriculum that has been transformed. Three, I will ensure that I raise up leaders that will be able to monitor this to come to pass because it is very important. Implementation is key here. We have fantastic policy in Nigeria and implementation has always been a problem. So putting up leaders in all the 36 states to ensuring that this is implemented and this is actually brought to light will lead to transformation of Nigeria. So those are the three things I'd like to do.
All right, I believe so much. I believe so much in that. All right, this is where we are going to end the podcast. But before we end it, I would like to ask for your recommendation because the topic of today is how to build quality leadership through education. And so I will ask, what are your recommendations? And like, what do you think? This is going to be, of course, the last question I'm going to ask you. And it's also a kind of a reflection personally on what we have discussed so far. And so what would be your recommendation on how to build quality leadership? Because if we don't have, because now, right now at the moment, we, both in Nigeria and across section of Africa, we are suffering from, not for lack of resources, because Africa have a lot of resources. We know that. Not for lack of money. We don't lack money in Nigeria because money is nothing. Money is just an idea. It's just paper. Number that written on the number, a picture of dead people written on paper. So those things we can create it if we want to. The question is the lack of idea. We lack the idea. We lack the orientation or how to manage resources. We don't lack the resources, but we don't know how to manage it. So people have a lot of these tons of money in their house. They are not using it. It's not because for that money that they have there, it's not good, it's worthless, it's useless. Because like I said before, money is nothing, it's just a number written with the dead people on it. No? So if we have good idea, the little we have, we can multiply it. So which means we have problem of administration, of leadership. So we're talking about how to build quality leader for tomorrow so that what we are suffering now, our children and our children will not suffer it. So what would be your recommendation on how to get there? That is the last question. Please go.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We all know that leadership is a problem in Nigeria. And for leadership, I always go by my first law of the 21 Irrefutable Law of Leadership by John Maxwell that talks about the law of the lead. Now, no leader can give beyond the capacity that he has. So I would say everyone that is a leader, because it starts with the topmost leader. If the topmost leader gets it right, all other leaders will also get it right. So I would say our top leaders, one, have a heart of service. If you have the heart to serve people, instead of putting money in tanks and burying money, you'll bring out this money and build industries. You bring out this money and empower people. The more people you empower, the better it is even for you. When you have only one wealthy man in a whole city of 1 billion people, you are not wealthy. You are not wealthy at all. So it is important that that money, use it to serve people, create industries. Instead of taking industries, taking it to South Africa, to Togo, to Sierra Leone, bring it back to Nigeria and ensure that you create the enabling environment for it to thrive because you have the heart of the people at heart. So act of service is the number two if you want to be a successful leader. Integrity matters. My brother, my sister is very good, but people that can do it, give them the job. Have integrity. The next one is have the fear of God. In Nigeria, we have a major problem. Everybody knows God. Everybody shouts God. Everybody goes to the churches, to the mosque, but the rate of wickedness is alarming. So we play religion. We do not have the fear of God. So as a leader, have the fear of God and not the fear of man. Once you have the God and really love God in truth, it will give you creativity. It will give you innovations. It will even show you how to do this. Go and look at all kings that has made it. Kings that were successful were those that walked with God, that feared God. Any king that does not know God will not lead right, will be wicked. And wickedness blinds the eyes from doing the right thing. So I would say, fear God. And the last one, if you can fear God, if you can have integrity, if you can have the heart to serve, I tell you, you'll become influential naturally because people will love you, people will follow you. I tell you, you will inspire people naturally. People want to be like you and say, oh, I like your kind of leadership and I want to be like you. So those are my last words.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. I really, really do appreciate that. And I hope that the audience also appreciate it because education is everything. If we are here, if we are raising our voice, it's because we believe so much that we need to be able to fix this one. Because if we can't fix it, then we are going nowhere. There is nowhere we are going to without fixing the educational system in Nigeria and, of course, in Africa. All right, so this is where we're going to end the podcast today. I want to say thank you to Regina Inem. I really do appreciate your time and for all the good work that you are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for
All
having
right.
me on board today. Thank you.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewanfo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.